Thanks for listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast. I still don't get that intro. I am Mike Luke. All right, now, I generally read something off, but if I've been stealing information from somebody's podcast for the longest time, I am going to allow them to introduce themselves. Mike, tell people who you are first, because this will not be your last appearance on here.
Thank you so much for having me, dude. Michael DeFoe, Mike DeFoe, Yo DeFoe, if you see
Yo
me
DeFoe.
online. That's right, Yo DeFoe.
Right.
I do a little podcast, maybe inspired by everything that you've been doing for years now, with my buddy Jesse.
Right.
And it's been a blast for this past year. Just an Arizona Wildcat diehard super fan. I just obsess over this stuff. So having the opportunity to get out and talk about it's been fun.
All right, well, let's do it. And we need to talk about your podcast. We're going to get to that at the end because it's a great podcast, and I utilize a ton of it. Mike, this team's good, man. And again,
Yeah.
I'm always this time of the year, I'm going to turn a blind eye to everything. But just across the board, I think from a defensive perspective, the way that this team, you've got a lot of different guys that you can mix and match. You're girthy up front. You've got big men. You've got depth. There's just a lot to like about this team. Seriously.
There's a ton to love. The versatility, I think that's what you're speaking to, right? Is just like there's quality in a lot of different ways. And I know that there was question marks about maybe the depth of the team, and I think that we're seeing maybe more depth than we expected and I know it's exhibition games, but there's a lot of individual performances that I'm going, gosh, I'm so enthused for this season.
Okay, so let's start player by player then. Let's talk Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley looks pretty comfortable with the three-point shot. That was fantastic.
I mean, he looks comfortable just with everything right now, right?
Right, he really does. Doesn't this feel like this is going to be? I mean, there's a lot of guys, but doesn't this feel like this is going to be kind of his team?
It absolutely does. And that was probably the biggest question mark that I had heading into this season, right? Is the point guard play, he's the point guard. Who is the backup point? Well, he's going to soak up 30. Is he good enough? Did he do it last year kind of off and on? Did he do it at Alabama for a spell and then not? He looks like this is absolutely his team. And that's probably been my number one shocker or upside surprise of this early exhibition period. He just it's his.
And I think that's the part that is so exciting about this. It feels like it, and we all knew that he could get to the hoop, but it's even more so than that. It feels like this is just something where he's going to be able to score a lot of different points. He's going to be able to score at a lot of different angles. And honestly, we've had a lot of point guards that have been a lot different throughout the years, whether that's Kerr. Kerr did some really good things, obviously. Yeah. Kylan Boswell could do some good things, but again, my mic's not. But at the same time, this just feels a little bit different.
Yeah, his ability to dribble penetrate was what we were so excited about for him coming out of high school, right? And then you saw it with him still being able to do it often at Alabama, and did some of it last year. The dribble penetrate to, hey, they're going to play a drop on me, a deep drop, and give me the mid range, and then he just pulls up. If that's what he's doing, and then the ability to force guys to be honest by, hey, if you're going to go under on the ball screen, I'm gonna drill a three in your face. Again, it's exhibition, but it's fun. He looks all conference Big 12. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, he does. And I'm sorry, my mic's messing up here. I'm going to get that. Kev, you could hop in here for a second. I'll get this fixed. But all right, let's talk a little bit now. KJ Lewis. I think he's going to be perfect for the Big 12. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you see, we knew it when you knew it. I don't know if we all knew it, but you knew it with him coming in that he's a guy, kid out of Texas, El Paso, and then Duncansville, but that was going to be a fit for how do you play in the Big 12, the aggressiveness, the ability to defend multiple positions. His effort and energy. And slipperiness, which is I think my favorite piece about him, is that he's not just strong, he is strangely slippery, both with the ball in his hands and on the defensive end, getting through ball screens. So I'm so excited for him. Those two look like the leaders of this team right now, and I don't know if I expected that.
Exactly. All right. Oh gosh. Hold on a second. All right, this is my mic is messing up because now I can't hear anything, and I do apologize about this. All right, Kev, if you could hop in here for a second, real quick.
I'm gonna have a bourbon break.
I'll get this Yeah, Kev, hop in here for a second, please. Okay, this is because I can't hear anything. So go ahead.
Well, Mike is Mike is figuring out his situation. We were kind of talking pre-show about some of our bigs and the development that they're having or the lack of a development that they might be having. Yeah. So we were talking about Emmanuel Steven pre-show. What are some of your thoughts on our younger bigs, Carter Bryant, Emmanuel Steven, Veesaar? We were already kind of touching on like that, but what are your thoughts on the bigs?
I mean, step one for me is Henri. Somewhat famously, if you're on Wildcat Authority, shout out wildcatauthority.com. As always, I throw Wildcat Authority. I dumped all my Veesaar stock last summer heading into the season. And then, look, he has the accident and he red shirts and like that. I didn't predict that, but he's come back and he just looks, I think he looks like a pro. I think he legit, and I thought he would be a pro when he was coming in here because of the tape on and from Europe, and he's doing the things that he did there here right now. And again, it's exhibition, but his aggressiveness, he tried to catch a body like in the early running of the first period, the first half, which is great. Emmanuel Stefan, I loved his bounciness. I that's what like his upper body, his bounciness looks great. He got pushed off spots, like he doesn't seem to quite know what to do sometimes within the offense, or he's just kind of, you can see he's like out there like clearly processing stuff. And so look, he's got the physical tools to be insane, and we've seen under Lloyd that the ability to progress from year one, where you're maybe not a guy that even people think that should be on the roster, to year 2 or 3, where all of a sudden you're probably all conference. I have faith. I have faith. If Stefan has faith in us, I have faith in him. I think that's how that's going to work. And it's crazy that we've had this success without, or you see this like quality group, and then there's Krivas, which, he's getting like, late, back into the lottery / like, middle of the first round hype. It's great.
Yeah. And when I was watching the game, I definitely saw some areas of Steven's game specifically where I was thinking that, he needs maybe have more sure hands. He needs to be more sure hands when he gets the ball in his hands, more confident below the basket. I think he was thinking a little bit too much under there, but it's preseason, right? There's a lot of time left for him to develop these things. Like, I'm not being too critical on him right now. But
I think that's a fair note that I would probably drag out through a lot of the guys is it's preseason, and that there's a lot of guys that are getting worked in. And there's a lot of guys I feel like that, I think Love and Del Orso, who are guys that I think are like really strong offensive players that probably aren't doing all the things that I expected them to do so far.
100%,
Because
100%.
like it's still they're still figuring out a new spot.
All right, can you guys talk?
Yeah, you back with us?
Yeah, Mike Luke is back. Mike Luke is definitely back.
It's me and Kevin until but yeah, I mean, for guys like KJ and JV, they're just sort of doing more of what they were doing before, which is really cool. I feel like some of these other guys are trying to figure out, like, sort of just where are they in their role, and that's probably impacting how they play the game. Stefan is probably like that, where he's just like, he used to be a thing, and now he's just trying to figure out how he fits in with this new group. And so give him time. I don't think he's a this year player at all. He might not even be a next year player, but I think, if you allow him to be back into the second year, third year player, good Lord, the physical tools are nuts.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that's an important thing that you brought up about players not showing their all. Like a player like Caleb Love, it's preseason. Like he's getting cardio. Is what he's doing. He's getting cardio. And that's what that is. They're like, it's for the bench guys. But I want to bring up our by the numbers here we have for this game. What numbers stick out to you, Michael? For me, we had 14 steals, which I thought was awesome. A really active hands, which is something I noticed from the very start of the game. Everyone had their hands in as much as they could. But what sticks out to you?
Yeah, that's really fair. And in fact, Point Loma scored a lot of points, at least in the first half, right? They put up 45 in the first and only 19 in the second, which is crazy. That's honestly, I just now realized that they only put up 19 in the second half. I thought our defense, I think our defense translates better than our offense right now, and probably that's just part of, everybody learning everything. These are fantastic offensive numbers, though. 58% from the field, 40% from three, 24 assists, only 11 turnovers. That's really, really, really good stuff. If you carry that forward, again, the level of competition. But it does feel like, to your point, the defense, especially individually, has been really good.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get with it. Oh, Mike Luke is back.
Oh, yes, I'm in. Sorry, I got it all figured out. Sorry, I do apologize for getting embarrassing. But all right, now, again, let's drink. All right, now, let's talk about this. I have a lot to talk about here. Defensively, like I said, the offensive numbers, like you said, Mike, are great. This is very, very good. I think what's exciting, too, about this, you've got a lot of different guys that can make plays. And I think that's what's exciting about this, is that in the past, you look at it. Jaden Bradley can make plays off the bounce. KJ can get to the hoop. Caleb Love, your guy, can make plays off the bounce. Trey Townsend as well can hit you from basically pretty much every single level as well. This, dare I say, this might be Tommy Lloyd's most diverse team scoring, or would that be hyperbole? Mike Luke, hyperbole?
No, I like that a lot. Yeah, and that was something that I was talking about in the offseason, is that Tommy bringing in really kind of three guys that are either wired to score 20 plus or just have habitually done it, right? Yeah. So Del Orso, Townsend, both wired to score 20 plus. And I think maybe some of Del Orso's struggles is that he's just not doing that right now. And so you can see him kind of forcing some shots. Not here to apologize. I still like my stock. But and then Carter Bryant being that third guy who good. And then Carter Bryant being that third guy who maybe not wired to score 20 plus, right? We wish he was wired to score 20 plus. Maybe he's going to get there, but is that kind of a guy. I love the diversity of offensive generation that we have, and Townsend especially is worth noting that he's been phenomenal to start.
You know what? You're a spacer guy. Let's talk about the spacing aspect. I will say this, man. I did not say this. We went back and forth a bunch this offseason. I will say this. I didn't expect him to be a spacer. He looks like a spacer as well. And you know what? You know what's a little bit different is, like, Shead was a pretty good 3-point shooter. Don't get me wrong here. But it always just kind of looked like it was just kind of he was taking the three because he was open. Townsend looks natural shooting the three. And Mike, that surprises me, man, because I did not see that being the case.
He's hunting it. He is hunting it. Yes. It's coming out of his hands so smoothly and so easily. I'm honestly shocked by it, because let's let everybody know he hit over the last 2 seasons at Oakland. He was like a 38% 3-point shooter, which is really, really good, especially from the 4 or 5 spot with the positions he played. He only took 84 shots over those 2 seasons. That's not a lot of shots across 68 games or whatever it was. He's gonna blow past those numbers here. I don't know, within like 4 games, 5 games.
What a great recruiting tool too this is for Tommy Lloyd. Think about it this way: Keyshawn Johnson comes here and he's essentially just kind of a junkyard dog. He's just basically throwing blows, getting rebounds, things like that. He comes here and he's allowed to shoot 2, 3 threes per game. Trey Townsend,
and look where he is.
Yes, exactly. Look where he is.
He's at the Heat.
Yeah, exactly. Trey Townsend, he's showing that he's going to have an ability to be able to diversify his game as well. Let me ask you this. What are you looking for? Michael DeFoe, what are you looking for from a statistical perspective on from Trey Townsend this year? Skier and I have gone back and forth a ton on this. What are you looking for? After watching a couple games, what do you think?
I'm gonna refer back to Shear's previous projection. Was 26 points and 16.
I 26, 16, right?
It's funny because a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago rather, I thought he would be a complimentary scorer and probably score more in like the 13-point range, gather like 6 or 7 rebounds, and probably get like 3+ assists a game. That would be a really successful season, realistically. Right. It now feels like it's the exhibition. It's tough, but it feels like he's sliding up that point per game slider. And I'm so excited to see him play against the better competition, because he doesn't miss a moment, is what it feels like. It feels like he is a game, every day.
Let me ask you this. Mount Krivas comes back, and Skier and I were talking about this. Are we sure that he should start over Tobe Awaka?
That's so tough.
Isn't it?
And I Yeah, I mean, Toby's ability to control space,
It's amazing.
be it via the screen, on the offense, his screens are menacing. I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you guys are zooming in on these things, but I mean, he is putting a body into these guys, and yes, he is a girthy body. We started on the pre-chat hashtag Girth Gang.
Yes, I
Him,
love it.
him and
Yes,
Townsend. And then his rebounding ability. Obviously, the guy just sucks up the ball. Now Krivas has a ceiling that is pretty crazy given his touch and his
agreed.
size, 7'2" ish, 7'6" wingspan or whatever it is. And so I would probably start Awaka. But
I agree.
do you?
Yeah, I agree. You know what
Yeah.
Awaka reminds me of? He reminds me of every big man on Houston. They're all 6'7" or 6'8". They're all 230 pounds. You know what else I like about him too? Is that when he gets down and he has any opportunity to seal, he seals his man immediately. And when he gets that ball, he's finishing or he's getting fouled. It's none of this, just kind of flipping it up or anything like that. If he gets the ball down low, good things are happening.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things that I circled for this game, or maybe for the last two games, is like those post entry passes need to be, look, it's hard. It's not like the offense is trying to give you that entry pass, but goodness is Awaka burying dudes underneath the basket.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. I mean, let's talk about the Big 12 now for a second. I mean, this is going to be a lot different than obviously when playing in the Pac-12. So you've got Houston, you got Baylor, you got Iowa State, you've got Kansas. All of those teams up front have big dudes, and we're kind of in this era now where I feel like every big man is like 6'7" or 6'8", like 225, 230 pounds. I mean, you can look across the board, whether that's Orchie or what's the kid from Miami that is at Baylor now that averaged like 35 and 20, and I didn't even know who he was.
Same, honestly.
I had no clue who he was, dude. And I'm looking at, and he's in the
West
ACC.
Coast bias.
Yeah, no, definitely a West Coast bias. But this is the kind of kid that you win with. And you know what's also very intriguing about him? You get 2 years out of him as well. A lot of times when you get, I mean, think about what he could be doing next year and this year. But I'm kind of on the same page as you, man. I kind of like him in the starting lineup, to be honest with you. I think he's a tone setter.
I agree. He is a tone setter, isn't he?
Yes.
In his bond with Townsend, right? We've heard the interviews where they talk about how like they are really tight off the court. I feel like their on-court chemistry is really good as well. We've seen some passing between the two of them. And just the toughness and rebound. Not the biggest guys, right? If that was your front court, you go, on paper, you'd go, oh my God, I don't know, man, 6'6", 6'8". Those guys can hang.
Right, for sure. Now, also, everybody hit the like button. I am terrible at telling people to hit the like button. Hit the like button. We got 140 lives in here. Hit the like button. Very, very much appreciate all of that. Now, I want to get back to the perimeter for a second here. What is your and the hat? The hat. I left the hat in the car. I actually dressed up for the game. That is, I apologize. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I don't have the hat, but I don't know that I should be apologizing. Let me ask you this. So Arizona going into the Big 12 now. Give me your overall thoughts on those three perimeter players with Caleb Love, with KJ Lewis, and with Jaden Bradley. What do you think? I'm just going to give you one thing and I'm going to let you go, or not let you go. I need you to be here for the next 40 minutes. But my thing is this, and I think you're going to agree with this. Caleb Love does not have to do everything this year. I need Caleb Love getting 6 free throws per game. And I need that percentage to be around 44.5%, something like that. That is what I'm going for. The floor is yours, my friend.
You're talking about free throw rate? You want his free throw rate to be up to closer to 44?
No. No, excuse me. Just his field goal percentage overall.
Oh, his field goal percentage. Yeah.
I need him to bump that up a couple points.
Yeah. I mean, so his field goal percentage definitely needs to come up. And that's one of those things that clearly they've circled and they've been working on. You can see Caleb trying to take less triple jumpers. Let me shift back. First, JB and KJ look great. I mean, what they're currently doing, is mostly within their offense. They're taking some other extra stuff a couple of times, but that's okay. You're allowed to do that as long as the majority of your stuff is within your natural game. They look phenomenal. Their defense is great. Their passing looks great. Their aggression, really, and that's been maybe the biggest thing, is just they look just totally ready for this moment. Caleb, deserves, in my opinion, if he's going to make a shift to where he is going to be less on ball, and it seems to me, this is not a statistical analysis, but it seems to me that time of possession has been with JB maybe more than anybody else, and then Caleb, kind of far down that list. If that's going to be the case, if that's the ask that you're doing for Caleb, I'd love to see Tommy run more stuff for Caleb. Because he is still, we cannot sideline Caleb Love. I mean, he is a phenomenal scorer. He's a phenomenal player. I loved his passing. I thought that his dribble penetration to staying on 2 feet and then getting some little, those little cute dump off pass, that pass ahead to JB, I think. Great.
Right.
But these three, I didn't expect the question mark to be around what Caleb was doing, really. And it's not about his play. It's about how do we fit him within what we're trying to do. That's my big question. And that's for Tommy to figure out, in my opinion.
In a weird way, isn't that a good thing, though? Because it almost shows an embarrassment of riches. Because, I mean, we've kind of seen what he can do. You know what? And here's where I'm kind of at. And I love Tommy Lloyd. I think he's done a great job here. I hope he's here. I said the other day, I hope he's here longer than I'm alive, which I guess I don't know if that's good or bad, but either way, I hope he's here forever. But one of the things that he kind of lets guys do is he kind of lets guys just kind of do their own thing at times where, and I think that's just kind of how his personality is.
Yeah.
If you see guys that are really if you see a Jaden Bradley, if you see a KJ Lewis attacking the basket, being more efficient, I'm hoping that rubs off on Caleb Love to a certain degree. And I like Caleb Love, obviously, but I don't need to see the one-legged, 3-point runners. I don't need to see any of that. Let me ask you this. If Caleb Love averages 15.5 per game this year, 15.
That's so funny.
Dude, but
that's exactly what I was going to say. That's what I was watching the game. I'm like, he might average 15 a game this year, but all of a sudden he actually averages, like a really, really good number.
Yeah.
Is he happy? I mean, he should. He should be.
Because here, if he wants to play in the NBA, I don't believe he's an NBA player. I mean, listen, I'd love to have his future. He's going to make a lot of money somewhere. He's got a better future than I do. But
so let's not cry about it, Caleb. Right, wherever you're ending up, it's going to be pretty good.
Either way, you're going to be okay. But he's already shown, Mike, that he can score 20 points per game and do it at 41%. If you have even a kernel's chance, I don't know if that works, but if you have a little bit of a chance of making it to the NBA, I think it's more impressive if you can do it at 15 points per game at 45 to 47% and attacking the basket.
Yeah, and that speaks to some of the stuff that we talked about on the Wildcat Authority board over the summer. Is you look, it's like, oh my God, how did Pelle Larsson get drafted? Is he look at Caleb? Well, Pelle plays a specific role that looks like it cleanly translates. And so for Caleb, like you said, he's already done, hey, I'm a flamethrower 20+ point per game guy at lower efficiency. What if you were able to show I actually also can be this other guy, which is more of a complementary player? Not that he isn't going to be a star, but more just, hey, I'm going to set guys up and then I'm going to score less points, but it's going to be at a higher efficiency. I think it'd be a boon for his stock.
All right, now I got to give Mike a lot of credit here. Mike has spent the last 3 years basically slapping me around on the message boards, and rightfully so, rightfully so. 2 straight years I was buying into Oregon stock. Each time Mike would say, yeah, I'm not seeing it. I don't see any of it. And then the second year I was like, all right, this is the year. And you're like, no, Mike, it's the same exact roster that's back. They're not going to, it was the same thing. Pelle Larsson, though, was a crowning achievement for you. My bad, Pelle hashtag. I should say
I was a year late. I thought he was going to go a year earlier. So my stock was early, but it did land, thankfully.
It doesn't matter because you were right. He's in the NBA because he has a discernible skill. Oh, people saying that I need a tan. I cannot get a tan. It is impossible for me to get a tan. But again, you're able to see things that obviously is very impressive. Now I'm going to ask you this, Carter Bryant. I had a person on the staff tell me that he said, enjoy him while he's here because he might just be a 1-year player. He could be the guy that averages 7 points per game, but at the same time, it's going to be the 7 points where it translates. What do you see from him?
He looks so smooth, and I think maybe it was I don't know, it was Sutton or Neilbach. And man, what first off, just a quick shout out to that broadcast crew. They're
Yeah.
so good. We are so blessed to have them
Yes.
on like just a random exhibition. But
For sure.
his blend of size and fluidity, athleticism, the the drive to the basket that he had in the second half for the dunk, it was nuts. That pull up mid like 2 dribble pull up that he had last game. I think it was in the first half.
That was an
On the
NBA
left.
move.
Oh my God, was it?
Yeah.
And he just sort of has that stuff in spades. And then he's vocal out there. I've tried to pay attention to him talking, and he's not a guy who looks like a freshman in general. I could see him having a sort of Zach Collins-ish year. If you remember Zach Collins playing for Gonzaga, where Collins went in the lottery after coming off the bench and then really kind of blew up. I feel like it was like in March, and I don't have the research or anything in front of me, but where he was like, okay, he's a good player, and then he really starts to feel it later as the year goes on, and then it's just like,
What's impressive to me too is a lot of times you see these guys too, and this is why I'm a big fan of bloodlines. It doesn't mean everything, but when your pops played at a high level, when your uncle is a McDonald's All-American, when you are somebody that's been known from pretty much day one, you know what it is? It doesn't look like the moment is too big for him. It looks like when he comes out there, he's been training for this, but man, his upside is intoxicating, and almost as intoxicating as that bourbon.
It is Buffalo Trace tonight, Kobe. Shout out. I was going to do Green River, but they're not sponsoring. No, nobody's sponsoring tonight, unfortunately for me. But shout out Buffalo Trace.
No, but I mean, but when you just look at him, he's a guy that, he could average 7 points per game, like you said, and you're like, all right, you could also see him being the 12th pick in the draft. He's got a lot going for him.
Yeah, I mean, he really does. He the biting a little bit on the defensive end, but a lot of our guys are doing that right now. So, and maybe that's the competition. I saw Trey doing it, and KJ was doing it last. So, but the NBA drafts on projection,
right?
Could you project on him?
Yes, exactly. Now, let me ask you this. All right, Erika, we'll let you in 5 minutes here because we have our sideline reporter, Erika all day. But first of all, though, I got to throw something out here, though. This is called a tease. All right. Now, let's talk about there we go. Empire Flooring. Mike, let's look at this.
Love flooring.
I met you. I met your lovely wife at Tap and Bottle a couple of years ago. Very happenstance, by the way.
It's very cool.
Let me ask you this. You're obviously a successful man, very smart. You could even take it to the next level if you had Empire Flooring. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure that you don't. You might have Empire Flooring and you don't even know it that you have Empire Flooring, Mike. This is true.
Could be.
This is very, very true. Either way, be like, maybe don't be like Mike, or be like this Mike and get Empire Flooring. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code PHNX. Restrictions do apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for details. And I've got another one, not just Empire Flooring, but there's another big thing we need to address. Sanderson Ford. Here's the deal. Sanderson Ford, when you think strength, when you think girth, when you think testosterone, you are thinking Sanderson Ford on I-10 going all the way up and down the street. But also more than that, Sanderson Ford's got some really, really good stuff going on here as well. Check it out. Sanderson Ford, my friends. Here's the deal. Now, Mike, you look like a guy that likes sports cars. This is true.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you like sports cars? You look like you like sports cars. Okay,
yeah, I do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can see you in a Ferrari. How would you take a Ferrari?
I would love a Ferrari. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Exactly. Now, here's the deal. Head to Sanderson Ford and check out you could also check out their F-150 trucks, all kinds of good stuff, and you can get a free pair of tickets to see Weezer, Sublime, and more at November Nights. While supplies of 100 tickets last, disclaimer, I'm not supposed to read that. Offer on 2024 F-150 STX OAC from Ford Credit. 1 pair of tickets per house, requires a valid driver's license. Okay? Check it out. All kinds of really good stuff. Sanderson Emerson Ford. All right, now we have our sideline. We have our sideline reporter, the lovely Erika L. Day, joining us. Oh, hello, Erika L. Day. Look at those fresh tips with the nails. Fresh, you're showing those off. I do not have fresh tips. Erika L. Day.
Thank you for letting me in.
Yes, absolutely. Fill us in, though. What is going on there, Miss Day?
First of all, I said it the other day. No kid has ever been happier to be an Arizona Wildcat than Carter Bryant. I just saw him in the postgame presser, and that dude simply loves being a teammate. Like,
that's
and
awesome.
it's something so special. And him having the help and assistance of KJ Lewis in year one, whether it's his only year or more are to come for college basketball, Carter Bryant is going to learn so much from KJ Lewis, and it is so obvious their relationship and just how much they're willing to do the right thing for each other is just unmatched. Next thing I want to talk about is...
I know, right? Right. My heart is
sorry,
full.
my apologies. Jaden Bradley, okay? Jaden freaking Bradley. They said it right now. No one has taken a bigger skill jump on offense, especially, than Jaden Bradley. And I mean, we saw him score in the first 10 seconds of the game, and I thought that McKale was going to burst. And I mean, they talk about his work ethic. It's showing right now. Tommy talked a lot about the 5-guard lineup he went in with, and how last year, if he would have put that same 5-guard lineup in, but had never practiced with them, Pelle Larsson would have been the kind of, ringleader, gatekeeper, if you will. But unfortunately, now that, Pelle's obviously not here, there is a lot of new blood to go around. And so, there might be a little more creativity regarding, lineups and just seeing new people all together at once. Nonetheless, though, the one thing that everyone expressed over and over and over again is that this team has at minimum 10 players that can play, and there's not a whole lot of other teams in the country that can say that same thing. I mean, Jaden Bradley verbatim said most teams are only going to play 6, 7, 8 max players. Arizona is just not built that way.
You know what? That's a great point. I'm excited about this because it feels like with Tommy's teams, there's been every year, and they've been obviously very good, but it feels like there's been a couple guys out there that I don't want to say dead weight, but they're just kind of there to steal some minutes. It feels like with this rotation that you got guys that can push the lead there. That's what I'm excited about. What say you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, seeing Henri, that's really like an unlock thing for that back end of that rotation where he's one of the most impressive players I've seen on the court this year, and I didn't expect that at all. And so that leads to going, oh, there are really a lot of guys that can play. Is it 10? I love that the group thinks so. I don't
go that far. I think I'm saying it's 9. I think Henry's forced his way into the rotation. I don't know who that 10th guy is. Yeah, I don't know who that 10th guy is.
Yeah. You get, Stefan. I don't think he's there yet. Hey, Erika, welcome back. and then, so how do we feel about Conrad? Let's talk about Conrad. Where are you with Conrad?
All right. I would love to be wrong on Conrad. It would not be the first. It would not be the last. My question about Conrad is this. I believe that you're in the Pac-12. I believe that you can get minutes with Conrad. My question is in the Big 12 because I don't know that I feel comfortable with Conrad necessarily playing 8 to 10 minutes per game against good teams in the Big 12. But what say you, Mike? I'm curious as to your take on this one.
Yeah, the way the minutes break out, you don't do that. You don't have to do that unless there's a meaningful loss in the front court or a loss in the front court. So if a guy is out, then you might need 8 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes out of Conrad, right? Do I believe that he can play 10 minutes and get 5 minutes a half?
Right.
Yeah, I mean enough so that look, if you lose the starting player, like stuff has kind of hit the fan in the first place. So I like enough of what Conrad did. His passing is really, really good. I felt like maybe Caleb picked up a little on the pass aheads. JV should probably be. I think JV said he was like, I'm taking some inspo from him. So look, I'm rooting for Conrad. He had active hands tonight. We're still rooting for Conrad.
All right, now let me ask you this.
I got a couple more things to say before you let me go, and then you can let me go, for real. Sorry.
Wow.
First and foremost,
I love it.
Tommy is unsure about when Mo is going to be back available, but there is a chance, a solid chance, that he's available for Monday. Now,
I don't
am
believe
breaking any news.
Breaking news.
Am I breaking any news? No, I'm not.
No, I don't believe Tommy. You want to know why I don't believe Tommy? Because I saw Mo on one of those birds going down a 6th in front of the new the Chiba Hut. You know, like those little bird things that are whatever. He was on one of those the other day, and he looked just fine. I say, liar, liar, pants on fire.
So wait, you think he is fine? He's coming back immediately, and they're just holding him out to show Krivas, or sorry, to show Henri, or what?
I have no clue, to be honest with you, but I know what I saw, and he looked just fine on that bird. So, you know, Erika, you hang out with the college kids. You need to find this one out.
I find things out all of the time out in the wild, okay? We're not going to forget the Kurt Kriisa nonsense, are we?
Yeah, you broke that she was going to Freudian slip. You broke that he was going to Kentucky, so yeah.
Wow.
Kurt just really missed being a Wildcat.
She was partying with him.
Clearly. That's awesome. I respect that.
Yeah. What else you got, Miss Day?
The last and most important thing is that there is also a chance that Emmanuel Steven redshirts. And I don't know how real that chance is, but Tommy did basically said, first of all, that he doesn't regret redshirting Dylan Anderson, and he learned from that. Basically that, you know, he just wants to give his kids a great opportunity to have long careers. And E-Man has a great opportunity to have a long career here at Arizona, but I do think it's in his future that he is a redshirt freshman.
Dylan Anderson, let me ask you guys this. Dylan Anderson, when Dylan Anderson is averaging 14 and 7 this year, you will all apologize to me. Dylan Anderson, you're talking about
my man Philly B? Is that who you're talking about?
Oh, no. But hey, I got one for you. Let me ask you this. Philly B's per 40 minutes. How many shots is he getting up per 40 minutes at New Mexico?
Is that where he is? Per 40, 17, probably.
Oh, I'm going 20.
You're going above that. 22.
Oh,
22 was my initial take, and I was like, I gotta calm that down.
I like Patrick Stark in the comments. 50. Yes. What say you, Erika all day? You are a big Philly B fan. This is true.
This is true, and I hope he does well for himself.
I love him
period
so
in
much.
The story.
Yeah.
Hey, did I ever tell you my Philly B story about what a nice guy he is?
Oh no.
This is actually very cute. It's a very cute story. All right. So so Philly B, he this was his first media day. And the first thing is that I was asking him questions like, you know, you go there and you're like, hey, man, what do you do in your spare time, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And so I asked him that, and he says, I like playing video games. And then he says, and what about you? And he asked me that. I was like, well, I mean, I like watching sports. And then I said, you know, what are you working on in your game? What are you really good at? And then he goes, I really think that I can score the basketball. I can pull up from outside. And, you know, what about yourself? So he kept asking other people questions that you could tell was obviously like an English immersion thing about this is how you converse. It was the coolest thing ever. This guy made me feel awesome.
Like, Philly, that's not how this works, but I love you.
That's really what it was. Miss Erika all day, we very much appreciate you as always. You will be hosting on Friday, so when I come back from San Diego, hopefully I still have a job. But
if I leave the place burning, you've done this to yourself, Mike Luke.
Love it.
It is. Erika all day, you are fantastic. We very much appreciate Erika all day.
Bye-bye now.
TTFN. All right. Now, let me ask you, ta-ta for now. Let me ask you this, Mike. I have been telling this to Sheer for basically the last 5 months. Why can't Jaden Bradley be junior year Jamal Shead?
I love that you've banged that drum, because honestly, I think that's brave, which it seems ridiculous to say that. I genuinely do. I think that's a brave take. You tied it back to, I think, last show where you showed the stats. It was like 10, 5.5-ish on assists, and then whatever on rebounds.
And first team all defense.
And first team all defense. I honestly don't know how. I don't disagree with that. I don't know how you could disagree with that.
Yeah.
He is first team all defense. That is my expectation for him. And 10 points seems completely legitimate. And honestly, the way he's playing, he would blow through that.
Agreed.
5.5 assists or 5.4 or whatever it was.
That might be a little high. I agree.
It's just because in this offense that there's so much other stuff that goes on, right? Right, and there's just so much. It's just so spread out among guys. If he was in Miller's offense, you'd chalk him up for 6.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point for sure.
But that's not. But this, which is to say, it's not a rub on his level of talent or what he does.
Right.
That's simply just the nature of the offense. Is that you look at it again, like you look at a guy like Trey Townsend, who I wasn't sure if he would be sort of like that high post hub that was hypothesized. He looks like it,
Right.
So. Yeah, it's a heck of a comp. I do not disagree with it. I'm planting my flag along with you on junior year Jamal Shead.
At the top of a McKale, I have good company. Thank you there, Mike. All right. Henri Veesaar, we talked about this before the show.
Yeah.
Listen, I get that you're playing not great teams, but I'm also a believer in the eye test. Henri looks the part, dude. He looks the part. That's exciting. He looks the part.
What did he have tonight? Do we know the stats on what? Because it wasn't the prolific scoring night that he had the night before or the week before, right?
It wasn't, but when he's getting the ball, he's trying to dunk it. Oh, we got Kevin Thomas. What do you got, Kevin Thomas?
Yeah, so tonight Veesaar had 12 points on 3 for 6,
wow.
1 for 3 from 3, 5 for 6 from the line in 15 minutes. He also racked up 3 rebounds and 2 assists.
No blocks. Surprised by this.
I'm not seeing blocks.
You're surprised not to hear it, but also I don't remember him blocking.
He kind of looks the part.
He looks the part. And I think that's what I've been banging the drum about recently is that I keep saying he looks like a pro. And that's just the way he's moving on the court and his awareness.
Right.
His hip fluidity, the way that he's like, when he's the roll man in a ball screen, when he's the screen setter, when he flips and he shows, you're like, oh my God, like this guy, that's what a pro looks like.
What's also fascinating to me is generally when you get guys that are that size, generally they have a feel for blocking shot. It's kind of like with hands. They either kind of have hands or they don't. They can block shots or they can't. Like it's like something like with DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton was just not going to be a shot blocker. Caleb Tarczewski not going to really be a shot blocker. Christian Koloko, you could tell even when he was barely playing 4 minutes a game, you could tell that dude had the ability to block shots. Henri, the one thing that always made me at least intrigued that freshman year was that he had a shot blocking presence about him that say Dylan didn't have, as much as I like Dylan. And that's something that can always travel, especially when you're going against big physical teams. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm super intrigued by Henri from what I've seen so far.
I loved your take from the last show where you said that if he can just block some shots and hit some threes and then I think maybe play inside like you're supposed to as a big, that's what an insanely valuable thing to bring off the bench.
Exactly. Especially too, you're talking about a dude that's legitimately 7 foot that moves fairly well. I think
moves really well for his size.
And he looks so much stronger. I mean, you look at him when he's dunking, he's flexing now. It's not like
just clearly, would you put him as part of the girth gang? Is he?
Yeah,
is he
1,000%?
He's in the girth gang. Okay, good.
Well, don't you think though that he's in the I don't know how many minutes, but he's in the rotation though. No.
Yes, absolutely. He's in the rotation. In fact, he's so in the rotation that it's made me rethink other parts of the rotation. I'm being serious. He legitimately looks very, very, very comfortable in the offense, and the defense, which is something that we can't say about everybody in this team because it was a lot of new pieces. And then his natural skill his ceiling is really, really high. So yeah, I think he did.
His ceiling is really high, and I hate looking ahead to next year because you never know like who's going to be here, who's not going to be. But all of a sudden, you look at him and you're like, That's an intriguing possibility for next year as well. I mean, just the way that he's shown it, and I thought too with Henri, I thought we would know it within the first exhibition game whether if he was clumsy and kind of goofy or if he had taken that next step. It looks like he's taken that next step, and like I said, if you can get 6 minutes per half from him, that is incredibly valuable, especially too when you're dealing with big men. A lot of times, you know, they're going to have a few issues, a few foot issues or leg issues or whatever. If I got Henri Veesaar as kind of my backup to my backup option, yes, please sign me up for 2.
100%. If you have to play him 25 minutes because there's a guy that's, you know, if Krivas is out or if Awaka is out, I feel fine. Did you see did you see Henry's high to low? What would it to Awaka?
Yes. Yeah, that was. And how natural it looked too.
How natural it looked.
You know,
he was so ready, and his obviously his wingspan is so high that his release point it was just like gently coming down on the right timing. Like, my God.
It was fun. Tommy had a presser, or I don't know if it was a presser, if he was talking off record, but he was asked about Veesaar, and I remember it. He said, "Listen, man," he says, I know big men. I'm not, you know, and he says this kid
He's no dum-dum.
He's no dum-dum. You're right, exactly. He's no Mike Luke. I mean, he's like, I know big men. I know what I'm talking about here. And honestly, I mean, you look at the jump that Christian Coloco made in just year 1 under him. You look at what Oumar Ballo, he maximized Oumar Ballo to, I mean, Oumar Ballo isn't getting any better than he was under Tommy Lloyd.
Oumar Ballo is getting a lot of dollars is what he's getting.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I think Indiana's going to find out that sometimes, and I love Oumar.
We all love him. And you would know him. You know him better than a lot of people.
Right. Love Oumar. But at the same point, you know, he was able to mask Oumar's limitations, I think, to the nth degree and be able to show what he could do. I never thought he would get Oumar to be a 15-9 guy. I didn't think there was any chance of that when he first stepped foot on campus.
Yeah, and I think that leads to an interesting thing about what we're able to do now with the front court group that we have, the defensive stuff that we can do now. And honestly, I didn't see us do a whole lot of interesting stuff this game. Maybe I just didn't catch it. But the defensive stuff that we could do, because last year was all like, hey, we're going to play a bunch of drop coverage because, you know, Oumar's not doing the Sean Miller hard hedge out to 27 feet. Yeah. But these guys that, you know, you're talking about Krivas, you're talking about Veesaar, you're talking about Awaka, you're talking about Townsend, Bryant. Like, these guys can play a bunch of different types of defensive ball screen, especially ball screen coverages and switching. It's super cool. This is a group that can be really tough defensively because of the difference in defensive schemes that we can throw out.
All right, let's move ahead, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Duke here, and you know, just kind of these games that got and some of the concerns possibly for this team. But first, Mike, I need you to be honest with me. When was the last time you went to Circle K? Be honest.
Oh, the last time I went to Circle K, I was playing Costa Mesa Country Club, not an actual country club. Really crap golf course, but I love it. And I went and picked up some White Claws before, maybe some Modelo's before we went out there. Big fan.
Nice. Oh, yeah, exactly. Circle K is fantastic. You got the Circle K on 6th Street. I wanted to apply for a job there, but they said that I couldn't because I only wanted to work 4 hours per month. I didn't even want to get paid. I just wanted the stories working across from the U of A. But either way, don't be like me. Go to Circle K, and you can be part of it. And guess what, Mike? Be part of the inner circle. You're clearly a very smart man. Save a little bit of money on gas. I'm just saying.
Would be nice.
Circle K, check it out. All kinds of really, really good stuff. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. Also, chicken and pickle. Do you play pickleball?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a pickleball court on the Pacific Ocean. Come visit me in St. Clemente. You're going to love my pickleball court.
Oh, you have a pickleball cart?
I mean, I don't own it personally, but my community has it. Yeah, it's great.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
It's
all
really
right.
Great.
Yeah. Yes, Tommy Lloyd might like to take you up on that as well.
He's yet to return my text, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Get in line on that one, man. I know that feeling. What? be like Mike or be like Tommy Lloyd and maybe check out Chicken and Pickle. Get some chicken, get some pickleball to see all the fun you can have at their Glendale location. New to pickleball, they have newbie nights for you. Get on the court with others who are ready to drink around. Instructions facilitated. Check it out. Chicken and Pickle. All right. Now, I don't know if you saw this or not, but ASU barely lost to Duke yesterday in an exhibition.
Because fuck them, that's why.
Yeah.
Excuse the language.
Let me ask you this, Mike. What do you think about Duke Arizona State? Duke Arizona State. Who cares about Arizona State? Duke.
Who cares?
That's going to be a really interesting game. Obviously, everybody's talking about Cooper Flag. Yeah, Cooper's a monster. There's, he's been groomed for this moment. I don't know if groom's the right word, but whatever. But yeah, I don't think that's the right word. But
does he have girth?
Yeah, his girth has been groomed. Let me ask you this though, Mike. What do you think about this? What do you think about this team going forward though against Duke? Then you've obviously got some other out of conference games as well.
Look, I'm afraid of Duke. I genuinely am, and I probably am always a little, like when Miller went and beat Duke at Madison Square, and we had a heck of a squad with Gordon and everybody. I wasn't so sure that was going to work out last year. I wasn't so sure that was going to work out. So maybe I just need to get over the fear. This year, I feel like I have legitimate fears. I don't know. The chat's been chatting, and Andy mentioned it. Like, who guards Cooper Flag?
That's my question. You put KJ on him. As much as I love KJ, I mean
KJ. Oh God.
Yeah,
I mean, look, he can stick in his body and get a hand in him, but Cooper Flag is
Deron Holmes though. I mean, you're only
true.
You're not tall enough, man.
That's a pretty That's actually a pretty good comp of like how, because I was a huge Deron Holmes fan. You may remember this. I was pining for us to somehow grab Deron Holmes out of the portal that didn't. Yeah, I was deeming you consistently and cheer as well. You put Awaka on him. That's Awaka at least can man him up, and I don't know. It's a really difficult matchup, and he's one of your problems.
Yes.
That new true freshman, whatever how do you pronounce his last name? Knopel, Nopel. I haven't paid
like that. I can't quite go with it, but yeah,
I don't know why I'm asking you for pronunciations.
I suck at pronunciations, but it flatters me. I'll take it.
And then Caleb Foster, and then Proctor. This is tough.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but guys like Proctor generally don't scare me. I mean he's good, but
no, he's okay.
He's solid. You know who he reminds me of, and he's not quite the same player. It's kind of like a DeJuan Harris at Kansas, where they're going to get you in and out of their offense. But at the end of the day, he's going to have like 10 points and 6 or 7 assists. I give him credit, but those aren't the guys that scare me. The guys that scare me are the ones that can blow me up defensively, or the ones that can blitz me and hit me with 25 to 28 points, something like that. But that's interesting. Now, let me ask you this. What do you think about Arizona then in the Big 12 then? Obviously, Kansas to me is fascinating because you got Self is about as good a coach as there is, obviously.
Yeah. And the best in the game right now, right? Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Hurley, I think, are those two, and then everybody
else.
That's
one right now.
No doubt. But you look at it, you got DeJuan Harris, and they're the class, so that's why we're talking about them. But you got DeJuan Harris, then you bring in an AJ Storr, you got a Zeke Mayo, and then you've also got KJ Adams, you got Hunter Dickinson back. I mean,
Riley Griffin out of Alabama, who I desperately wanted and didn't think we could pull. He's the 3D monster. Yeah, he's very much a spacer.
Yes, spacer. And then you got the 5-star big. I can never remember his name coming in there as well. That one's Kansas to me is interesting, but I'll be honest with you. When I look at Arizona, though, I don't necessarily see one position where I'm like, okay, we have no chance there.
That's a really funny. I don't think I've done like the hey, let's match it up and like 1-to-1 and look how it bounces out, because I do really love our squad, right? And so if you were look, if I look at their team on paper, if I look at their roster, that is a very, very, very scary deep roster. Now, it's a ton of turnover, which I don't think gets enough credit. I bang the turnover bell every year. If your team has a ton of, if your team has, I mean, that was part of my Oregon argument. Is like, look, if you have that much turnover, then it's really, really difficult to be cohesive on defense and offense. And I think that part of what we're dealing with right now is a little bit of a struggle on just incorporating, some of that. Kansas has a ton of that. I do not believe that Kansas is going to be as good as the current computer ratings projection. I don't think they're going to be like the 6th ranked defense in the nation or 10th ranked defense in the nation or whatever the people are, Ken Palm or whatever is calling them. I think that's absurd given the lack of continuity. Now they do have a lot of guys, and by the time we start playing them, especially at the end of the season when we go visit them, they're probably going to figure it out with self. But yeah, that's a nasty group. They're a tough group,
but
it'll be fun.
It's going to be fun, but it's also not a group that I'm like, man, we don't have a chance. We don't have a chance there because you just look at the matchups. I mean, you look at Jaden Bradley, you look at DeJuan Harris. I'm fine with how Arizona matches up.
I feel really good about that. I feel really good.
I mean, you look at Caleb Love, you look at KJ Lewis. You've obviously got AJ Storr. We know how good he is. Mayo's obviously coming in from a lower level. He could be very good. He could also be kind of a stats guy. You don't know, but I feel fine with that. KJ Adams is very good defensively, but I'll take my chances with Trey Townsend all day. And Dickinson is a good player, but I don't fear Hunter Dickinson, though.
I do not fear Hunter Dickinson. And shout out Christian Coloco for snagging the mask off of that one.
Exactly. I mean, the guy, he is, you know what he is? He's the epitome of a dude that's is going to finish averaging 17 and 9, and I don't care. Like, I don't care. I think Arizona, between Awaka, between Mo Krivas, I'll take my chances with those two guys. I just will.
I feel better already.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's why we're here. It's a therapeutic session. Okay. All right. Though, Mike, before we sign off, though, I need you to, as the kids would say, pimp the podcast that you've got going on there with D'Artagnan, because listen, I'm not kidding around here when I say it's the best U of A podcast for X's and O's. It is fantastic. No, and you need to do more of them, not less. But tell people a little bit where they can find them, though.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. Wildcat Fanatics is the pod, and it's just something that came about from the Wildcat Authority board. Again, we just absolutely adore 24/7 Jason Shear's site, Wildcat Authority, and it wasn't something I was looking to do, and my guy D'Artagnan, Jesse, reached out and he's like, I really would like you to do this with me. And we did it last year. We had a ton of fun. We did like 25 episodes. We're enjoying the heck out of it. Thank you so much. Everybody, we have a small audience, but everybody is really enthusiastic about what we're doing. And we're trying to upgrade this year. We're trying to do a little better.
What's so great about it, though, is that you guys really get into the nuts and bolts, though, about why
that's what we're trying to care about.
Why a team is playing a certain way, how you're looking to attack their defense, all kinds of really, really good stuff. And again, it's a it's must watch. So again, when is the next one coming out? When is the next one coming out?
We're gonna film one tomorrow. I'm gonna get a good night of sleep and think over what we saw today. I might rewatch the game in the morning if I have time. We'll see. And we'll chop it up and figure out, is there something we can pull out of it? And that's what we try to do, right? We try to see some like deeper stuff, because we don't do this. We're not doing this multiple times a week, and we don't have an obligation to sponsors and things like that. So it's just kind of a couple of guys that wait and stay up at night thinking about this stuff that got on a pod to chat about it.
Well, that's a lot of times how big things start. Just saying, keep that in mind. But Mike, you are the man, though. Very much appreciate this. I got a lot more autonomy. I got a lot more autonomy on the show now, so I would love to have you on a lot of different post games when you're available.
Glad to come back. It's been a ton of fun. Luke reached out to me 2 years ago to do this. I was in the middle of a ton of stuff. I'm still in the middle of a ton of stuff, but since then I met you in person at Top and Bottle with my wife, which was a ton of fun. We hadn't been back to Tucson in like 15 years, I think, 10 years. And it was great to meet you. You were very, very generous in being kind to me in front of my wife, who thinks my obsession with Arizona basketball is absurd. But
there's nothing absurd about it. It's a way of life. It just is.
This is what we are. And thankfully she's the Wildcat, so she does get it to a degree. Yeah, I'm going to keep at it, and I'd love to come back.
All right. He's the man, Michael DeFoe. I am merely Mike Luke. Everybody in the comments, you guys are the ones that make this show happen. Very much appreciate it. Kevin Thomas, who is the one that literally makes the show happen behind the scene. But for Mike, I am Mike as well. You have been listening to the AC Wildcats postgame.
We all silly like the mayor.